welcome back to Concert Critiques in Cars with Emily. So today was Kerfuffle, and it was at Merriweather Pavilion, so getting there was actually pretty easy, and the whole parking situation this year was a little bit different than it's been in years past. So normally you reserve a pass when you buy the tickets, but this year it was different. It was kind of just like, come and we'll tell you where to park. So it was definitely easier, and I wasn't in lot 2, so that was super exciting. I was in lot 3 this time, so that was definitely a good change. So yeah, let's get into the show. So I actually should just set up a disclaimer right now. I was not super pumped about the lineup this year. Really not a huge fan of the Greta Van Fleet song that is on the radio. And so when I heard that they were going to be co-headlining and that they were actually going to be the ending band of this show, I was really not pumped about it. But anyway, let's get started. I'm not going to announce the bands. I'm just going to kind of go through them in order. So bear with me, I guess. Anyway, so the first band to go on was the Bluestones, and I had heard their music once and was not a huge fan, but I was actually really impressed with their set. I thought they did a nice job. The first song was a good upbeat song. The second song was a pretty good follow-up as well. Really can't complain. I don't think I had a single song that I didn't enjoy, at least. Then they did play their bigger single, I guess Black Holes. I didn't really know it, but it was a good song. And then their last song was I guess maybe their newer song. I'm not really sure. I don't really know the band that well. But overall, they had a nice set. The first song was kind of hard to understand. And their fourth song, which was less of a straight up rock song, was actually my favorite. I really did like that less rocky feel to it. But yeah, so they had a pretty good set. I was pleasantly surprised. And again, when I listened to them, I was like, eh. So I thought that seeing them live was definitely a good experience. And now I feel like I'm definitely going to have to go check them out one more time. So then after that, Shaed played. And I was actually excited to hear their current single on the radio, Trampoline, if that's even what it's called. But female singer, so right off the bat I was again, kind of skeptical, wasn't really super looking forward to hearing her set. She definitely had some good songs, and there was definitely one or two songs that I was really not feeling. At some point, I want to say it was either the third song or the fourth song, it was really slow, and it was just not doing it for me. I didn't like the lyrics, I didn't like it. But then she played another slow song right after that one, and I actually really loved it. So it wasn't necessarily the fast versus the slow. And then she also played Crazy, a cover of Gnarls Barkley, Crazy. So that was pretty cool, and I liked it because she changed a lot of it. So she would hold things longer and kind of make it a slower song at some point. It was really actually well done. I really did like the cover a lot. So yeah, overall it was a pretty good set. They ended on Trampoline, so that was obviously fun, and I was really looking forward to hearing that, so that was pretty cool. So the next band after Shaed was Tom Morello, who, if you know nothing about Tom Morello, which is what I thought was my situation, he was the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine, as well as Audioslave, and he's kind of had his fingers in a whole bunch of other bands. I looked it up on Wikipedia, but definitely took the cake for me this concert. Really impressive, really just loved his whole set from start to finish. Looked at my watch one time during the transition and was just blown away, was totally into it. Fantastic. So the set started with this weird poem being read by this creepy voice, and I loved it because the first two lines actually had to do with Damascus and the Wheaton Mall, which is native to this area. So I'm assuming that he changes that at every show, which I actually really appreciate because I love when bands do that. I think that's a really cool touch. And then he kind of went in and just came out, and it was awesome because instead of coming out on the stage, he actually came out between the pit and the seated section, which I thought was, again, just a really cool, unique touch. No one ever does that. And then he played an entire he played one song. I can't really tell where the songs ended all the time and where they began. But yeah, so they had a singer voice in the background, and he was just playing the guitar over it. And then to transition him to the stage, he had some people talking about what freedom was. And then when he came back on, he played another song and actually had a rapper come on the screen. And in between rap verses, he had names with birth year and death year, so I'm not really sure what that was necessarily
Black Lives Matter.
About. Oh, Black Lives Matter, I didn't know that. Okay, see, this is why I need Stephanie in my life. So that was super cool, and definitely like had a lot of powerful images and statements on the screen throughout the song. So it was just definitely an interesting set, something unique, something to really think about. And then I really liked the next song after that. I actually looked up, and it turns out that it was the singer of Passion Pit as well as Wheaton. I'm not sure about that second one, but definitely Passion Pit. So I thought that was cool. And I really liked the video that went with it on the screen. And I loved the guitar part. I thought that was a really good song. Definitely gonna have to maybe check that out and download that one in particular. And then after that, he kind of went into a medley of Rage Against the Machine and Audioslave. They actually played the singer of Audioslave to bring him to that like amazing bridge that you probably know if you know Audioslave. Really great. Really liked that part of the show. And it was cool to be like, oh my god, I saw that song being played. And then after that, during another song, he literally unplugged his guitar and played the plug. Like, he lifted the plug up and just, like, touched it with his hand. So that was, like, super crazy and super cool. Gosh, what else happened? There were just so many things. So then he played... Oh, yeah, and then he played the guitar with his teeth, and on the bottom of his guitar, it said pro-choice. So that was pretty cool. The crowd kind of went crazy. And then after that, he played 2 other songs, and then after those 2 songs, he invited people up on stage, and he must have, like, had someone recruit people, because he was like, okay, like, we have people backstage, like, waiting to come on stage, but there was no one waiting, and he was like, oh, this is so awkward, we're running out of time, like, anyone come up on stage. But then finally people got up on stage, and he played pretty much the most popular Rage Against the Machine song. I don't know the title, but I'm sure Stephanie does. Yes, thank you. Killing in the Name of, and like the whole crowd sang it, so that was pretty cool. And then he ended with another like song-ish. I didn't really know that one, but overall fantastic set. Really was impressed.
Power to the people.
No, but then what was the end part?
It was Power to the People.
Oh, well, I don't know the end part of that song apparently. But anyway, then after that was the Revivalists. And they were really good. I have been a little bit sick of their most current, like their biggest song, but surprisingly that was one of the best parts of their show, which I was really glad about. So they opened with a really like great opener song, upbeat song, and then they played their 2 newer singles like right back to back. And during the 3rd song, he went down to the barricade to sing, so I thought that was pretty cool. Definitely like moving around a lot. He sometimes played the guitar, sometimes didn't. So when he wasn't playing the guitar, he totally like just got to dance, and that was pretty cool. He would go like up and down the stage to the barricade and stuff. Really liked all the songs I didn't know. I enjoyed. There was one song, I think it was the 5th song of the set, that was like way too country, and I was like not feeling it at all. But then the song after that was more of like that classic like regular rock, so I liked that. And then they ended with their most popular song, and I like loved it because the saxophone player was like super awesome the whole show. He was like during the 4th song, he literally just danced across the stage and then came back and was like spinning his saxophone and was just doing all these awesome things. And so at the end of their most popular song, at the very end of the set, he had this like Roach-worthy saxophone solo, so I really loved that. I thought that was really cool. And then after the Revivalists was Young the Giant, who I was really hoping would end the show. And their set was like a roller coaster for me. It was like, yay, I'm so excited to see them, and then I don't really recognize the song, or I do, but it's not really like giving me the mood right now. And then it was like, oh my god, I'm so excited they're playing a good song. And then it was like back down. So they started with, I want to say it was off their new album. I want to say it was Oblivion. And I thought that was a good choice. And then after that, they totally played a song that I was hoping they would play, because the chorus of the song has to do with the heat of the summer. And I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't address the fact that it was hot like summer, and that they were like, yeah, we're going to play this song because this is totally applicable. So that was like a little bit disappointing. I thought it would have been cool if they were like, hey guys, we know you're hot out there, so we're going to play this song for you. And then after that, oh my gosh, what was next? They kind of played a couple songs that I kind of knew, didn't recognize. During the 3rd song, the singer just like fell to the ground and just kind of like rolled around, and then when he got back up, he totally did a moonwalk, which was freaking fantastic. It was so cool. So that was definitely an awesome part during the third song. And then after that, they kind of played the song that I wasn't really feeling. It was a slower song, and I just wasn't like, But then they like totally brought it back with cough syrup, so that was freaking awesome. I totally loved that. It was really great. And then again, it was kind of like they went down after cough syrup, and they played like another couple songs I didn't really recognize. And then they played Superposition, which is like the song I went to go see, and I was a little bit bummed because I knew it was too early in the set for me. I would have liked that to be one of their last songs. But when they played it, it was super fun. They also like didn't really change a lot, like didn't really hold a lot of notes or change anything, at least that I could hear. So that was a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to hear that like slight change. And I know that they can do it because then when they played My Body like 2 songs later, it was amazing, and they definitely had those like subtle changes in it. So yeah, again, so they played Superposition, and then they played a couple other songs that I didn't really know. Some of them I knew, especially like when the chorus would come up, I'd be like, oh, I know that song. And then after that, they played My Body, and I just love that song. It's so fun to dance to. They changed things, and it was just super fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the lead singer was definitely like super energetic, and again, it was just like this like kind of a roller coaster. It was like our super energetic song, and then not really. But overall, it was a good set. I just wish they were the last ones, because ending that show on My Body would have just been fantastic. All right, now we're getting to the end. So Greta Van Fleet was the co-headliner, and a couple things like really, again, I went into this show not thinking I was going to enjoy them. And what ended up happening, which the whole co-headlining thing really annoyed me, because they took a half hour to set up versus the 20 minutes that Young the Giant had. And then also, like, their music between sets was different, and it was, like, clearly what they had chosen versus what DC 101 had chosen. And then they came out 5 minutes late. So it wasn't really a co-headliner. Really, Greta Van Fleet was the headliner, and I wish they would have just called it what it was, but whatever, it's fine. So I'm not a huge fan of the song that's on the radio right now, and someone told me, they were like, oh, don't worry, you'll like them, they're more like rock. Well, what they didn't tell me was it's like classic rock, and I am not a huge fan of classic rock, so I tried to be as objective as I could throughout this set. Really loved the music. There was actually this like 15-minute time period where pretty much the singer wasn't involved at all. He played the tambourine like a champ, but that was pretty much it. Like, and that, I loved it. The guitar was fantastic. The like, I want to say it was the bass, but it almost like was like low strings or something. Oh God, it was just so good. And I was like totally, that was like the part of their set that was definitely the high. And literally everything else was the low. Anytime the singer sang, I was not impressed. It's just like that screamy, yelling, like high-pitched 80s. I can't. I was not enjoying it. Couldn't hear what the lyrics were saying because of the way he was singing the song. And like every time he would sing normally, I'd be like, oh, maybe like it's like a whole line or like a whole chorus or like a whole verse. No, it was literally like 2 words, and then it'd be like, and high-pitched screaming. And I was like, it was not that enjoyable. And I don't even know if they actually played their most popular song. I didn't hear it. Of course, I didn't really recognize it because I don't listen to it when it's on the radio. But yeah, so I was really underwhelmed. And I mean, he like tried, and he was super like energetic, and the whole band was energetic. They were like very, fun-ish to watch, but not fun to listen to. So that was really like just an overall low point in the whole show. And I also forgot to tell you, during Young the Giant, they totally tried to like coordinate a dance thing, and it was awesome. It was like the guitarist kind of started it, and then the singer totally joined in. It was great. They were like almost like the what are those dances called? Like the Cuban shuffle, right? Where you like do a move and then you turn, and then you do the same moves and then you turn. So that was pretty cool. All right, so let's talk about the show as a whole and give this thing a score and call it a night. Overall, I thought the openers did an okay job. Again, don't really love female singers, but Shaed was pretty okay, and I can only complain about a couple songs in the whole 2 openers. They were pretty good. Bluestones was good overall. Shaed was great. Tom Morello stole the show, which is like so classic Kerfuffle. I feel like in the past 3 years, one of the openers has totally taken the show. Like the first year I went, it was, I want to say 21 Pilots. The second year it was, I don't even remember who. Like, it's just, I feel like every time Yeah, that maybe was it. I just feel like every time one of the openers steals the show. So he was definitely a highlight. Loved his entire set. Really, really liked it, and would definitely go see him again as a full headliner. Can't wait to hear music from him now that I know what it's like. And then the Revivalists were super fantastic. They only had one song that I didn't really like, so that was definitely a good thing. And I loved that they changed their their biggest hit at the end, and they just like extended it and had the saxophone, so that, and like the drums and the guitar, like they all were just so different during that song, and it made it feel new, which was great because I was really getting tired of hearing it on the radio. Unfortunately, Young the Giant kind of let me down. I was most excited to see them, so that was a little bit of a and then Greta Van Fleet I knew I wasn't gonna like, and they were just terrible. So I think I'm unfortunately only gonna give this one a 7.0, which I feel like is low. But I think that's what I'm gonna stick with. And again, really loved the music part of Greta Van Fleet, but not so much the singing. And I did love the great songs of Young the Giant, but just it's like that roller coaster I didn't appreciate. I almost wish they would have played all the like not so great songs at the beginning, and then just had that like 15-minute time period of all like 4 of their songs that I loved to hear. Yeah, so I think a 7.0 is pretty fair, and honestly, Tom Morello is like probably a good 50% of that. So yeah, hopefully Kerfuffle's a little bit better next year. And like again, I love DC 101, and I love Kerfuffle, and it's one of my favorite events of the year. So let me know what you think. If you think I'm too harsh or super fair, comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.